This ESPN host just admitted that the Democrats have absolutely nobody who can beat President Donald Trump in the 2028 presidential election. Stephen A. Smith was on ABC News, and listen to what he said when asked if he would consider running for president.
I saw you mentioned Bill Maher. I saw Steve Bannon was on with Bill Maher, and he was asked what Democrats he worries about. And you were the only name he mentioned as a Democrat he'd be worried about. So are you really thinking about running for president? Is this something you think?
Listen, I have no choice because I've had elected officials, and I'm not going to give their names, elected officials coming up to me. I've had folks who are pundits come up to me. I've had folks that got a lot of money, billionaires and others, that have talked to me about exploratory committees and things of that nature. I'm not a politician. I've never had a desire to be a politician. I just signed a contract extension with ESPN. I am very, very
pretty
happy
good one, too.
With my day job. I'm very happy with my boss. This is a pretty damn good one. Just right. It's a pretty damn good contract. I couldn't be happier. But here's the reality. People have walked up to me, including my own pastor, for crying out loud, who has said to me, you don't know what God has planned for you. At least show the respect to the people who believe in you, who respect you, who believe that you can make a difference in this country, to leave the door open for any possibilities 2 to 3 years down the line. And that's what I've decided to do. But again, whether it's Governor Westmore, who I know, or Governor Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, who I know, Andrew Cuomo, who I had the pleasure of interviewing, who's trying to get back in things, to be the next mayor of New York, etc. I see a lot of people that obviously and clearly are more qualified than me. But in the same breath, when you think about what Trump is getting away with, when you think about what you brought up about Steve Bannon, who's trying to be slick because he's looking at a non-political individual like myself, looking at me as a populist. But you better be careful what you ask for, because some of the stuff that Trump and the right has been trying to get away with, like circumventing the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, talking about how there could be a third term. Excuse me, be careful what you wish for, because if any GOP member, if any Republican supports that, I don't want to hear a word out of their mouth ever again about the following the Constitution. The Constitution. That's what they've been living off for years. And then you're talking about circumventing the 22nd Amendment, and you think that's cool? No way. That's not something that we should stand for. So I would hope somebody else would step up that's more qualified than me. But if it has to come down to me, it is something I would consider. Yes, I would, because I don't mind the thought of tussling with these folks at all, on the left or the right. All of them disgust me, to be quite honest with you.
I was waiting for him to take a breath so I could pause and comment, but he just kept railroading all the way through. Look, he says, I don't have a choice. What that means is that there is nobody in the Democrat Party, and he knows it. He's looking around. He's like, Kamala Harris, she can't be serious, can she? She can't even win the governor's race in California. Then he's looking around going, Gavin Newsom, that guy's so smarmy. Plus, he totally destroyed, the state of California. Pete Buttigieg, ain't no way. Bernie Sanders is trying so hard to become a thing again. Bernie Sanders is in his 80s. He would be the oldest person to ever run for president and win if he does, and he'd be the oldest president ever serving, 100%, if he makes it that long. But Bernie Sanders is out right now on tour with AOC on their oligarch tour, and he made a stop at Coachella. Bernie Sanders stopped at Coachella, went outside, went on stage, talked to all the drug-induced people that were hanging out in the field for days on end, because nothing says party like Bernie Sanders walking out in his rumpled jacket and his mussed-up hair to talk about voting for him in 2028.
We need you to stand up to fight for justice, to fight for economic justice, social justice, and racial justice. Now, we got a president of the United States who, I agree, he thinks that climate change is a hoax. He is dangerously wrong. And you and I are going to have to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and tell them to stop destroying this planet.
That would be a fossil standing up to the fossil fuel industry. There you go. There you go. But Bernie Sanders is out there, and Stephen A. Smith is looking around going, Bernie, Come on, dude, go to one of your 6 houses that you bought after Hillary Clinton paid you to get out of the race and just take a chill pill, man. Relax. We need some young blood in here. And he's looking around. He doesn't see any. There's no viable candidate right now in the Democrat Party. AOC 100% would lose, probably worse than Kamala Harris because she's more divisive than Kamala Harris. When you have these people who are these firebrand mouthpieces for socialism, like Jasmine Crockett, who every other word out of her mouth is some kind of either racist remark or profane statement or both, you don't want that as the face of your party. So Stephen A. Smith, who, by the way, his contract that he just signed, his really big, great contract that he's thrilled about, it's a $100 million contract. ESPN gave this guy $100 million to talk about sports for the next 5 years. That's $20 million a year, 5-year contract, talk about sports. And now he's like, oh, I got to give it all up because y'all idiots can't find somebody to run against Trump. I got to give all this up because the Democrat Party, which is, I mean, there's 74 million people that voted for Kamala Harris. You're telling me that 74 million people, you can't find one person who's in the political system already, who's been in the Senate or been in the Congress or been a governor to run against President Donald Trump. He's like, y'all gonna make me give up all that money? God, even y'all got my pastor coming up to me. My pastor's coming up and saying, now, Stephen, don't be disrespectful to the people. You may be the only one that can lead them. Look, I'm with Steve Bannon on this. I don't think there's any politician in the Democrat Party right now that has what it takes to beat Donald Trump. First of all, I don't think there's anyone on the planet that has what it takes to beat Donald Trump if he runs for a 3rd term. But even if Donald Trump doesn't run for a 3rd term, that means that J.D. Vance, his hand-picked candidate, or I don't know, someone else that Donald Trump handpicks will be in that particular seat. And Donald Trump is going to make sure that he picks somebody who he thinks can win, who will carry on his legacy. And President Donald Trump will do everything in his power to make sure that person gets elected. Whether it's getting Elon Musk to write him checks for millions of dollars, whether it's Donald Trump going around on another tour and doing rallies in every swing state there is. It could be Donald Trump stroking his own checks to campaign or to support these candidates. Whatever it takes, Donald Trump is going to be there pushing that person, whether it's him or someone else, over the finish line. And the Democrats know that. And they're looking around going, there's nobody we have in our party that can beat any of these MAGA Republicans in Donald Trump's world. Vivek Ramaswamy, Donald Trump Jr., Byron Donalds. These are all names that are being floated for high power positions. Even Marco Rubio, I've heard, could be making a comeback for president. We don't know who it's going to be. But I know this, it's not going to be Bernie Sanders, AOC, Pete Buttigieg, or Kamala Harris. If it is, that's an automatic loss for the Democrats. And that's why Stephen A. Smith, who knows a thing or two about losses, because, again, he's in the sports arena, he's saying, man, I don't have a choice. Oh, this party's so bad. Man, you know it's bad when I'm the only choice.
I have no choice.
The good news for Stephen Smith is even if he walks away from that $100 million contract, there's no job that pays better than Democrat politician. Just ask the Clintons. Just ask the Obamas. If he runs for president and makes it, he'll make more money than he ever could as an ESPN reporter. If you enjoyed even 1 second of this video, do both of us a favor. Hit like, subscribe, set those notifications right now because we're going to bring you more content just like this. And if you like this, you're going to love what we got in store. Hit like, subscribe, set those notifications right now.